in so many words.
It's ridiculous to think that somebody like El Chapo, I think he only got life plus 30 years.
He got half the sentence Ross got.
Half the sentence. And your son got double life sentence.
Double life plus 40 years. It's ridiculous. It's such an abuse of government power. It's shocking. It is. It puts us all in danger. If some judge, and by the way, it was her 5th life sentence that year, and it was only May. You know, she's quite free with the life sentences, this woman, although she's retired now, thankfully, for justice. You know, she shouldn't be, I was told by a very high powered lawyer in New York, she had no business being on the bench. But anyway, she was. And, but yeah, El Chapo, half the sentence. Noriega got 20 years. You know, and we have a whole list of kingpins on our site that have a fraction of the sentence Ross does. Ross, who has no record of violence, no history in his life of violence, nothing. You know, he's a geek, an idealistic geek who, you know, I'm not saying, hey, not a good idea, mistake. He admits it, he regrets it. But double life plus 40 years for that?
Is there any chance that he could be pardoned?
I'm hopeful. You know, there's always a chance. I'm hopeful.
Because I've heard stuff like that with like Edward Snowden, that there was a chance of him possibly getting pardoned.
It could be hopeful for him too. I mean, President Trump has indicated and shown that he is very open to clemency for people. He has given pardons and commutations to people during his term, his 4 years. And he also pushed forward the First Step Act against the will of a lot of his party, which brought thousands of people out of prison who were serving these horrible sentences that are way past what they should be serving and destroying so many families. So I think, you know, President Trump could see, I hope he can see that this sentence is actually a terrible precedent that not only hurts Ross, but can hurt others, because it sets this precedent. Now a precedent is set for a nonviolent first-time offender, no criminal record whatsoever, nothing about harming anyone, you know, inflicting bodily injury or any of that, getting double life plus 40 years. This is unheard of. But I think that I can tell you my theory on it. I think that he threatened some very powerful people with the idea of Bitcoin. Bitcoin was very new and unknown. And I think that having this currency that was out of the control of the financial powers, I think that was a real issue. And I think that they needed to make an example. And one of the reasons I think so is that a couple of years ago, The Intercept revealed through Snowden that the NSA was urgently tracking Bitcoin users and trying to track them down a few months before the Silk Road was taken down. They were concerned about Bitcoin. They were concerned about this thing. And I think that Ross, I wasn't sure about it. You know, I thought, well, maybe it's the drugs, maybe it's this, that, even though he was never accused of actually selling drugs. But then I saw that the biggest drug seller on the site got 10 years. He has the same offense level as Ross. So obviously they're not that concerned about the drugs, you know, and it goes down from there. Everybody involved in the case got way less time. And the guy who was running Silk Road 2, which was a copycat site, only it was bigger, according to the government, he got no time. He's out. He just, I don't know how he got out, but he did, you know, because they were saying we caught him and all that, and suddenly he went away.
Who is that?
His name's Blake Benthal, Benthall. And so nobody, I was like, whatever happened to that guy? And we went on the prison website, and they tell you where different inmates are, and his had released. He was released after 13, 14 days after he was arrested. And he was running a bigger site, copycat, the government called identical. And so this is wrong. You know, you don't give one sentence for similar crimes. This is ridiculous. No sentence versus double life plus 40. You know, makes no sense.
What do you think it was? What do you think the true, if there could possibly be any logical explanation for it, even if it's buried in like the muck of prosecutors and the politics of the whole thing? What do you think the reason was they put or they went to the extent to try to cover up things and lie about things to try to slam him with this insane sentence? Like, obviously they wanted to make an example of him, right? But what do you think? Do you think there was like a deeper underlying incentive for them to do this besides the I mean, you
I
mentioned the
don't think
Bitcoin.
I don't think it's personal or anything. I think, they wanted a trophy. They knew and you can see in our thing on the, we have a video. It's also a podcast. It's also written. It's all footnoted. It's based on the public record. They knew that in fact, the lead investigator in the case never thought it was Ross. Never thought Ross was the Dread Pirate Roberts. Now, and it's pretty well established, and he even said at trial, I heard him with my own ears, that there were many people that were running that site. It wasn't just Ross. But according to the old-fashioned thing, they need a perpetrator. They need a perpetrator. And I think Ross was set up. I think, he took the fall for this, but it's pretty well established he was not the only one. And but they, it's like putting the head on the pike out in medieval castle. When if you do what they did, you're going to end up with your head on a pike.
Right.
That's what they were attempting, I think, with this. And actually, the prosecutors didn't even ask for double life. That judge gave it to him. They wanted a hefty sentence, but they never publicly, at least, said double life or even life. So she just, decided he deserved to die in a cage, literally. And no redemption, no chance. He was 29 when this happened. And that young, never violent, and he doesn't get a chance to redeem himself. It's not American. It's like something you'd have in a tyrannical state, not in America.
Well, I think America has the most prisoners per capita than any country.
That's correct. It's terrible. It's an outrage, and it's been since